Hello there, and welcome to another exciting episode of Dead Reflections Podcast. We are your hosts.
I'm Colby.
Caleb.
And I'm your boy Josh. This is episode 42, right?
Correct.
And we are doing things a little different. We talked about that in episode 41, where basically one of us tells a story. Like the whole episode is based around one story. We'll discuss the story and, yeah, end it. It'll be shorter episodes, but more concentrated, I think.
But if you're a first-time listener, we're a horror podcast.
Yeah. The whole mission of our podcast is to give someone at the table the chills, and if we're lucky, we might even send those spooks along to you.
I don't understand what's funny. Not only do we do a podcast, we are in a band called Familiar with Failure. We've been a band for a couple of years now. We have new music coming out, and we're playing shows constantly. And with the turn of the year, we're going to be playing more.
Colby's like, you thought, bitch. Yeah, that's.
I don't know how much of that's going to stay in the recording, but we did talk about bands and stuff.
Yeah, all of it.
Josh, you don't. Well, you have something merch related on.
Oh yeah, I have a
band that we played with.
Mothman. Yeah, which they're not only named after my favorite cryptid, but they're also fucking super sick. Like I highly recommend going and jamming them.
Yeah. What you got? What you got? That's not a band.
My own merch. My own stream merch.
RIP. Clothing.
A long time,
dude. Is that still up? Because I still want one. I want a hat. Actually,
can you see my shirt at all in this angle?
Yeah.
Yes. The entirety of it.
I got Metro Boomin. This was a Etsy shirt.
Yeah. I got a messy one like that on the way.
And then Tetrarch, we played with them a couple years ago.
I wonder how they're doing. You know,
they're fucking killing it.
Yeah, their guitarist, she was in fucking Guitar Magazine.
Yeah.
It's my story tonight. And I decided.
What's your story called, Josh?
I decided to do a story on the Ourang Medan ghost ship.
You good? You seen shit?
No, I was looking for the live audience.
Oh, tonight, yeah. Welcome to Saturday Night Live. Or no, what is it? Welcome, it's Saturday night. Yeah.
If you were a talk show host, who would you be?
Me?
It's open to the room.
No, I'm me.
Yeah. Bitch, you're not a talk show host though.
If I was one, I would be one.
I don't know.
That's a goddamn Freddy answer. Right there.
Jimmy Fallon. Oh.
Yeah, I don't fucking know talk show hosts. If you recognize that name, Medan, that's because the Dark Anthology the Dark Anthology games. The very first installment of their games was Man of Medan, which was about that ship.
The ship, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know
the ghost ship.
I didn't know that this was like a true fucking story. And what's crazy is, most of the time
the story about the ship or this story.
The story. Separate this is the story about the ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know all about this.
Yeah. So oh, you do?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool. You didn't do a story on this already, did you? Okay.
No. But yeah, I've dove down many deep internet
holes.
Dived down.
I've dived down. Anyway,
Dig Dug.
What's great about this story is, most of the time based on a true story shit, usually they've over exaggerated and saturated it so much that there's no spooky aspect except for like maybe one little thing, and then they like work off of that or whatever. No, this story,
Or sometimes shit is fucking terrifying.
yeah, this story is literally like you'll see. Anyway, all right. The ocean is a vast, mysterious frontier, and even though thousands of ships navigate its waters every day, from time to time tragedy strikes and leaves behind a little more than a mystery. No wreckage, no survivors, just a haunting sense of what actually happened. But other times tragedy strikes and leaves behind a plethora of evidence, all pointing at a sinister and unbelievable conclusion. Today we're going to take a look at the ghost ship Ourange Medan. Ghost ships have been a staple of maritime folklore for centuries, and something we like to pretend we no longer believe in. However, sometimes fate tests that disbelief, pushing back the boundaries of our knowledge and our confidence in science and reason over superstition. The Medan is one of those tests, a mystery tempting us with an answer we may find too terrifying to accept. Reports vary on the start of the Medan's mystery, with some placing it in June of 1947 and others in February of 1948. However, the date the saga of the Medan began with an emergency distress call over Morse code intercepted by various vessels in the Strait of Malacca near Sumatra and Malaysia. The message was split into two parts, with undecipherable Morse code in between each. The first part read, "All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in chart room and bridge. Possible whole crew dead." Gibberish followed, though given the context of the second message, it may have been the fading attempts of a dying man to communicate, as the second message simply read, "I die." Nothing followed after this transmission, but two American commercial ships decided to respond. With the aid of British and Dutch listening posts, the coordinates of the vessel were triangulated and a course was set. The identity of the stricken vessel was also ascertained as being a Dutch freighter SSS Medan. The American merchant ship, the Silver Star, immediately made way for the coordinates, and several hours later, the lookout spotted the Medan. The ship was discovered to be drifting aimlessly with no power to the motors and no visible crew, though there appeared to be no damage to the vessel. Pulling alongside it, the crew of the Silver Star called out to the Medan, but received no response. Radio contact was attempted many times and met with the same eerily silent response. Forming a boarding party, the captain of the Silver Star prepared to board the seemingly abandoned vessel. What greeted the sailors upon boarding the Medan was like a scene from a horror movie, and proved the SOS message to be not just some creepy joke. Dead sailors littered the deck of the ship, each man found with their faces frozen in wide-eyed horror and twisted in terror. Their bodies had already begun to decay abnormally fast, and rigor mortis had locked their arms in what looked like a defensive position, like the sailors had died fending off some nightmarish attacker. Even the single animal on board the ship, a pet dog, had not escaped the grisly fate and was found with a savage snarl frozen on its face. Upon further searching of the vessel, they found the captain in the bridge in a similar condition, and the bodies of the bridge officers were discovered in the wheelhouse and chart room, possibly trying to barricade themselves from whatever monstrous fate had befallen the rest of their crew. The engineering crew, also still at their respective stations below deck, were discovered with the same frozen look of terror, arms stiff and in a defending, shielding position. Lastly, the radio operator who presumably sent the distress call was also discovered, still at his station, hand right next to the SOS button, likely having died there just moments after sending the SOS. The Silver Star's search party made several notes about their discoveries aboard the Medan. Firstly, not a single crew member had any visible injuries to speak of, though it was very clear by their twisted expression of horror and how their limbs were frozen in a defensive position that they must have suffered greatly, perhaps even been engaged in some sort of bloodless violence. The bodies were also decaying much faster than they should be. Rigor mortis had locked limbs in place almost as if they had never had the chance to lose muscle control and fall to the floor. The rest of the ship itself was untouched, with no apparent signs of damage or disaster. Though strangest of all was still the operational boiler room. Despite temperatures being over 130 degrees, the crew felt sudden chills in this location, right next to the boiler. And they saw their breath. Deciding to tow the ship back to port for further investigation and salvage, the Silver Star secured tow lines when all of a sudden smoke was discovered below deck in the number 4 hold. Fire quickly followed, and the boarding party made haste to their own ship before severing the tow lines. Moments after the lines were cut, the ship exploded with a force so violent it lifted the ship out of the water before slipping beneath the waves. It literally blew up and went whoop, and then yeah. Taking whatever secrets the ship may have held with it to the depths of the ocean. The first official mention of the incident was made in a Dutch newspaper in 1948, and later in a U.S. Coast Guard report in 1952. Publishing eyewitness testimonies about the state of the crew, the report said that the crew were discovered, their frozen faces upturned to the sun, staring as if in fear. The mouths were gaping open and the eyes just staring. What could have taken the lives of an entire ship's crew so quickly without leaving a single wound behind? Some speculate the cargo hold was loaded with potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin, which would have helped explain the sudden smoke and explosion, but neither would account for the crew, which is where some believe things got more sinister and weird. Some speculate the ship was secretly carrying cargo from Japanese military Unit 731. Unit 731 is infamous for their chemical and biological experiments they carried out during World War II, routinely carried out on live Chinese and American POWs, including once tying prisoners to stakes in a concentrated circle around a live grenade. They then set off the grenade and studied the wounds suffered. The Japanese honed their surgical skills and learned to make better and more efficient anti-personnel explosives because of this. Yeah, that's some fucked up shit. I just listened to the Time Suck about like
Joseph Mengele?
Yeah.
I'm on it right now.
Yeah. And the one where he did World War II or whatever, and he talked about like Japan's side of it
Yeah.
and stuff.
That's why I gave Caleb the glance, because he was telling me about that.
I listened to it last night on the way home.
It was really good.
I was asleep.
I listened to it last night on the way home.
Some allege that the Medan was carrying equipment or personnel from Unit 731 when suddenly an accidental release of some ghastly chemical or biological agent affected the entire crew. As wanted war criminals, any surviving member of Unit 731 may have had motivation for keeping the ship's identity a secret, which would account for one of the most continuous pieces of the Medan's account. The ship was never listed on any known registries at the time. Skeptics also point out that the Silver Star was also not on any known registries, although this is inaccurate, as the ship was in fact at the time operating under a different registration, the Santa Juana. The Santa Juana, after the Grace Line Shipping Company bought rights to the ship and renamed her the Silver Star. Many skeptics still disbelieve the case of the Medan. Yet if the ship was in fact carrying secret and dangerous materials, it would certainly have been prudent to keep the name off official records. The most curious of all, however, is the ship was mentioned in a private letter years later by C.H. Mark, the assistant to the director of the CIA. Yeah, so the CIA was talking about it, so this shit's crazy. Yeah. The letter, which was declassified by the CIA only recently, was addressed to an unknown individual whose name remained redacted, and it is dated December 5th, 1959. In the letter, Mark explains the events from discovery of the crew to the mysterious explosion, followed by this statement. I feel sure that the SS Medan tragedy holds the answers to many of these airplane accidents and unsolved mysteries of the sea. Mark also goes on to highlight what he calls alarming passages in Old English chronicles, talking about sightings of a huge fiery spear rising and disappearing into the sea by ship captains and crews. But most chilling of all from this letter is the question Mark asks the unknown recipient. Do you think something from the unknown is involved? And then he follows up with, the enchanting sea, what terrifying secrets does it hold? I'm sure the SS Medan tragedy also holds the answers to this secret.
That's super creepy, and it reminds me of remembering the fear that I have, like learning about what mermaids first were. Like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
remember,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
because we see them as the portrayed, beautiful
Yeah.
creatures or whatever, and then you hear the sailor's tale of it, and it's like that is a siren, and like you hear you find out what a siren is, and it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's
like
like-
literally lead you to your death. Like
Yeah.
they eat you and all that shit.
So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's just they haven't figured out what to call this one yet. Kind of like that's
Yeah,
what I'm
dude,
picturing.
like it's crazy. What caught my eye about the whole thing was the CIA letter and how that, like, it's a, he's the head of the fucking CIA.
Yeah.
And I mean, they deal with secrets all the time, and it would make sense that the CIA would know if there was anything to know about what happened there, know that there's something else at play that's not necessarily normal with paranormal. But like, yeah, for him to, well, one, they redacted the entire letter down to the date, but they did not redact the fucking recipient of the letter. So it's like he could have been talking to the president
Yeah.
or somebody, you know what I mean? Like, or he could have been talking to an organization that we're not supposed to know about still.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's some fucking Men in Black shit, like fucking Will Smith and what's his name. But yeah, and it's just nuts that the CIA, the guy that works for the director of the CIA is like, yeah, dude, like, we could have probably figured some shit out if it wasn't for the fact of that thing blowing up. And it's almost like, it makes me feel like maybe he had somebody on that crew, like this is all planted and they fucking made it blow up. Like, oh shit, like the way, because he does use quote, like I didn't do it, but he does quotations with everything, like the secrets of the sea,
Yeah.
and things like that. And it's like, it almost sounds like he knew what was on there, and then they got rid of it,
Yeah.
which and then them talking about how it left the port where Unit 731 was at. It's like, it could have easily been a government cover-up, or it could have been a paranormal thing. There's so many different like directions that you can go with that, but either way, it's not solved, and somebody of authority said it in a fucking creepy like manner, and it's like, dude,
You saw me have an epiphany. I blame the Russians.
Elaborate.
Everything comes back to the KGB always. And Japan was actually stopped by the Russians in World War II with the aid of the North Koreans.
The main thing that's going to stick with me, the main reason I'm going to remember that story is because, oh, dang it, we didn't light the candle.
I know.
How sad.
But that candle was, or wait, were none of them lit?
None of them were lit.
Fucking
Tragic.
good job. He's coming for you tonight.
Yeah.
It's coming for you tonight.
See,
No,
stories.
it was your story, and you forgot to light it.
Oh.
It's fucking your fault.
Sea tales. That's.
I
gonna-
wrote something
that's gonna
down on
stick
your
with me.
phone.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the story, but it sounded cool. I was like, we need to call this. We need to name a song this. You said something. What was it? Something about "Wish of a Dying Man" at the beginning of the story.
Oh yeah.
Also, arguably one of the most easy to remember names is Tommy Lee Jones.
That's what it was.
Damn.
Oh, it was the fading attempts of a dying man to
Fading
communicate as the second message simply
Did you
read,
write that?
I die. Huh?
Did you write that?
Did I write that?
Yeah.
No, I mean I pulled from sources. No, I wish that I fucking wrote that.
Yeah, fucking
Let's go into the song.
All right.
write it down.
He's got it written down.
Yeah, it's right here.
Write it down again.
Okay.
Okay, that
I'll read
makes
the
more
whole
sense now that he said it that way.
Fading attempts of a dying man to communicate.
So, the story not being anything paranormal, like strikes teal.
I can totally see, and it's funny because the paranormal isn't as dismissed as the Unit 731 shit, which I think
Yeah.
is really strange. Like people are more like, no, it was just
Yeah.
some fucking weird shit.
So that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
Like, what
yeah.
do you think?
Like
Because yeah, the
I
So-
think that
some kind of unit that was sent out to take them out makes a little
Yeah,
more sense.
yeah,
but
like-
how do you get them to
I think
die in that way?
Well, I mean, this is also during World War II, right?
Mhm.
And Japan was basically like working with the Nazis, and Adolf Hitler had an entire force that was dedicated to paranormal fighting.
Yeah.
And, like, there's no, I would not be surprised if he was like, hey, you want to get rid of that shit? Here, try this out that I just figured out. Like, fucking unleash whatever that was onto these people. I mean, for them to die the way they died, and then the rigor mortis setting in so quick.
Wait, so the ghost in your bones was real? Wow.
Stupid.
Wow.
So you telling me
Nice.
Hitler fucking put ghost in their bones? Is that what you telling
yeah,
me?
I dude.
Well, you of all people, I would imagine, would know about all like the crazy weaponry that they tried to come up with, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, saying the Nazis did anything is like it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that's
That's
true. I guess that's fair. You got me there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Like they're the fuck.
They did have they had subsects and sections of people that did anything and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that makes sense that it was dabbled in by some group of people. Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. You know, he could have easily the Unit
Hitler
731.
didn't have the heart to tell him to go to the infantry.
He's like,
Unit 731. They could have easily figured out a fucking some kind of gas or something too that maybe made you hallucinate, and that's
Cyclone
why
B.
they were like this,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, or something like that. But
yeah, the fact of rigor mortis, and it looked like before they hit the ground, so like frozen and then ground. Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I
like
was
they
picturing.
literally went like that and then they dropped. Yeah,
Yeah, which is
like that. that's-
cartoonishly, like
Yeah.
you know,
and
weird.
and they had, so they were decaying rapid, like they were already.
Yeah.
The way that the guy explained, I should have put it in there. It was like they were decayed to a point, including the guy who sent the SOS,
Mhm.
was decayed to a point of being like a week and a half old,
Uh-huh.
that they were dead. So it's like they should have been like rotting a lot and all that shit. And you know, rigor mortis takes a few days to like kick in, I think, or is it a day or an hour? Is it hours
no,
or days?
it happens pretty quick and then it
Yeah.
fades.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, so
within
for them to
minutes.
be like stuck like that.
Yeah, and then it'll fade later on. Like it'll.
Oh,
then
okay.
Once the like everything loses tension, then it'll start to
Okay.
go limp.
It's like carbonite.
But
You're
when they
blind.
were doing
You're blind for like several hours after you.
oh,
default.
carbonite. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's Star Wars. God damn it.
Come on, dude.
Aim a little higher. Aim a little higher.
But yeah, no. So I wasn't paying attention that much. Was this story in Chinese Japanese waters or the Indian Ocean? Did
No,
say?
it was but near Malaysia.
Okay, so Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's several like takes on this story.
Really? Do you know a different one?
Yeah.
Okay, what is the other one?
It's straight up ghost ship, like it's a haunted ship and it kills everyone who goes on it.
Yeah, that was like that's what the Medan game
Black Pearl.
Yeah,
like was based off of, was like, yeah, it was anybody who goes on it dies. And then also the movie Ghost Ship, part of the movie Ghost Ship was roughly based off of this too.
like I guess
where they cut the heads off or whatever.
your real story inspired so many like different takes
Yeah.
that people wanted to like take it.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people don't believe it at all. Like even people who are like
yeah.
paranormal fanatic, they're like,
I mean,
nah,
that's-
that's just stupid.
That's
And it's like,
anything that has to do with especially ship stories.
yeah, it's
Like
they're
there's all kinds of ship stories that may or may not have happened.
they're so resistant to it. Like even what was the other one, the Mary Celeste? They're like, oh, they just fucking hopped on the boat and blah blah blah. Like, and it's like they found that one rope that had the singe marks, but everyone's like, no, that's bullshit. Like that's just it was just how. Like
I love
what-
sea stories like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, what do you
do
mean?
y'all-
Real or not? It's
Do y'all
creepy.
know the story of the ship that docked in Boston, and then like hours later it was in New York Harbor?
Oh yeah,
or
like it
whatever,
like teleported or whatever.
Yeah,
I think
don't know
I'll
that?
go to Boston.
that'd be a good one for us to tell.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I had a couple of them. Even the Flying Dutchman is technically considered a ghost ship. The Flying Dutchman.
Flying Dutchman.
So can you talk about the game? And
I'm trying to remember it. That's like the one that I completed.
it's been a little
It
while.
was pretty cool, like how
We
you
should
can,
do a walkthrough of it for a little bonus.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Like you can play it with more than one person. Each person sees something different than the other person. So like,
Oh.
yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, I can't remember who I played it with, but they saw, like an event happen this way, but the boat made me see it a different way.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and then I think it eventually gets to a point where like you almost kill each other because you're thinking that they're like
Oculus.
The
movie Oculus was like that.
It was really good. Very what you chose conversation wise, like changed
altered
the game and stuff. And there was a lot of good jump scares, and I'd highly recommend it. The Dark Anthology people are fantastic at making games. They're about to release another one, I think. It's called like The Devil in Me or something like that. Or The Devil Made Me Do It. I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
That's a movie.
Yeah, Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh.
Conjuring movie, and then The Devil and I is a Slipknot song.
And then the devil, and then you just start naming off everything, and then the devil. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, no, it's definitely neat, and they pulled a lot. That story pulled a lot. Like the Medan thing was the main thing, but it pulled from a lot of different ghost ship stories.
I'm sorry, but I have to say, The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Yeah.
It's a song.
I have not a. I remember playing that on Guitar Hero and getting so frustrated.
Yeah, dude, that shit was crazy.
So hard.
That was like the one. It was like,
They would have
I told
Satan
you
come
once,
out.
you son of a bitch. I'm the best there's ever
And I remember
been.
being
You're
a little
like,
kid.
oh!
Yeah, exactly. Being a little kid and playing. I was like, it's the game. I didn't do it. I don't do it. So I can't recall the last time we did an episode. It's been it could have been a day ago, and I wouldn't remember.
It was like
It was
last
like
week.
2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks ago? Have y'all had anything spooky happen?
Yeah, kind of like at work. I'm getting like dull to it.
Oh,
now.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, like at the farmhouse, which is where like the nurse's station is and stuff. Like I'll walk up there because we have to do like rounds and everything. And I'll walk up there to get the keys to like one of the Suburbans or whatever, and I'll be talking with the nurse, and then you just hear like and we're like, all right, we're gonna ignore that. I don't know what that was. Like, and and it happens so much now, even in where I, like that, like where I,
Fuck happened there?
I don't know.
What happened?
This just fucking.
It just like broke off.
A pier?
I don't think it was I don't think it was connected to anything.
Oh, just maybe when
Maybe
I did
we
that.
have opened the portal.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty neat.
But yeah, just like everything happens so often now that it's just kind of like, it is what it is.
I don't have anything that's scary that happened to me, but
Scary that happened to me.
I did see a video.
Your spooky video.
It was a spooky video.
What's your spooky video about?
It was secure or like baby cam of
Oh, baby monitor.
baby monitor of a child's room, and they had like a little closet along the ground. Like I don't know
Like
how
a
to
chest?
describe it. No, it's like
Was it built into the wall?
it was built into the wall, but it was low to the ground, like
Okay.
Like kind
for
of
a
like little
toddler
cabinets.
to like keep her stuff
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Built-in drawers. I
in.
don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't like a full size closet. Anyway, bitch opens. Light flickers on and off inside of it.
In the drawer, like in the drawer.
In the little closet area, little storage area. They have a little light in there, and doors are wide open, lights flickering, and I want to say she was like 4 or 5, like not like a toddler, but just a small child, gets up like fucking Michael Myers, points, and is like yelling gibberish at it. Like you could
Baby
she's-
gibberish?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, just like
okay.
like just gibberish.
Yeah.
And then like screams real loud, and then fucking go back to sleep.
Fucking what the fuck?
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Continues to flicker. The cat goes over there. The cat was in the room the whole time. Goes over there. It scares the cat. Runs out of the room.
Does it show what's in there?
No.
All right, we have to watch it.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Yep.
That would also be a nice little different thing to do include it to the has anything scary happened to you? What's the most scary thing that you've seen recently?
Yeah.
Because not everything it doesn't have to happen all the time.
Like, dude, like for like the podcast TikToks, I followed like so many scary TikToks, and I hate it because like
That's all
I
you get
open TikToks and it's I'm like, what the fuck? And I like scroll because it's scary, dude. Those little fucking people are really good at those 15 to 30 second where you're just like, oh my god, like, you know, and you're like, I'm not gonna sleep tonight now. Like every time you blink, you see whatever the fuck that was.
And then
you know?
there's no explanation in the comments.
Yeah, no, it just ends, and then I think that's the worst part. My fucking Silicon Valley or whatever the fuck it's called.
God damn.
Like,
we have yet to make that into a shirt.
Needs to be one.
What is it?
Uncanny
Valley, like, just doesn't. I'm not getting an ending, and I don't like that.
That reminds me. I saw him again.
Who?
No, I'm lying. Oh, no. You said Uncanny Valley, and that reminded me of a conversation I had with a family member over Christmas. Call her Am, and she talked. Or I was like, "Yeah, I have a podcast. Not everybody in the family knows exactly what all I do. They know like I play music sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes."
So we were talking, and I was like, "Yeah, I do this podcast with my band buddies, and." Like we just talk about scary things that happen, and we go into like stuff that's happened to me at the old houses that we've covered in previous episodes. And she's like,
Ghost.
she's like, I had no idea that all that stuff happened. And then she starts telling me stories that she's like trying to remember little things. I was like, this is amazing. Like, and she was like, I never tell anybody because everyone in our family thinks we're crazy or something like that. I was like, that made me feel good about this whole podcast because you listening can show it to somebody that doesn't like this stuff, and they'll maybe be like, well, something happened to me, and I just blew it off.
It just keeps like.
So that's cool. It's just a cool little thing, a little revolving door. Yeah, I'll have to talk to her again and get those stories like in depth. But there's things like at our grandparents' house, we have a ghost, or they have a ghost named Earl, and I've known about him since I was a child.
Oh
and
shit!
I completely forgot about it until she talked about it. And me and Will, the cousin, used to just like be scared at night. Like we'd just be like, I think he's around the corner or something. But he's always been known to be a friendly ghost. Yeah. So it's interesting. We have a lot of it in the family that we just talk about.
Are you gonna write a story about Earl?
Probably not, because nothing ever happened.
Might come visit you tonight.
I can ask my grandpa. I can ask Papa about it.
Yeah, do some research.
Ask Papa.
Use it as a prompt.
Papa. Earl might come.
I ain't gonna put nothing bad on Earl's name. He might have not done nothing. And then next time I'm there, he'll be mad.
Like,
I've been sleeping over a lot lately.
Yeah, but what if Earl wants you to tell his story?
Why don't you just ask him?
And he's out there waiting. He's
him.
out there waiting, dude.
I could ask him.
He wants his 15 seconds of fame.
I'm gonna ask him. I won't be there for a little while, but I'll ask him.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just ask him. Why not? Or tell Will to ask him. Will will be like, fuck you. I'm not doing that. He's like, I'm not doing that. I ain't walking that shit.
Oh, we went to the Driscoll.
Yeah, we did.
For like an hour, maybe?
Oh, in San Antonio? San Antonio?
About an hour.
Austin.
Or Austin.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Is that
Driscoll
Austin?
Hotel? Yeah. For sure. Either that or we got our cities very messed up.
Wait. Oh, I'm thinking of what's the one in San Antonio?
There's
the Manger.
Emily Morgan and the Manger.
Yeah,
in San
that's the
Antonio.
one I was thinking of.
And then there's the Driscoll, and then there's like some restaurant bars that are pretty haunted in downtown.
Sadly, we were there for other business, so we didn't get to do like spooky stuff. We tried to go into like the ballroom or the mezzanine. Is that where the?
No, we were in the mezzanine.
Oh, okay.
We were trying to get to the towers.
Okay. Because I remember, so we were taking pictures for our buddy Juan and his fiance Nisi, and we were doing their engagement photos. And we just walked in. We apparently were supposed to have an appointment. We got kicked out. But whatever.
Well, you're supposed to have a contract.
Or contract, yeah. But we were taking pictures, and he looks at me, coldly does it. He's like, "That's the room." And I was like, "What's the room?" And he's like, "That's the room that it all happens in." And I was like, "Let's go in." And we tried. It was locked. We didn't get to go.
Oh, damn.
It's like, you know how like all the ghost shows on YouTube that do haunted places in Austin.
That's the room that they go to.
That's the room that everyone talks about, and I can't remember what it was called now. Oh, the Maximilian Room.
Oh my god, that was terrifying.
Yeah,
right after
I was like,
Room.
Maximilian Room. Cut of audio.
We all died. No.
That's it for episode 42 of Dead Reflections Podcast. We'd like to shout out our friends in Dark Hour Podcast and No Man's Land and Scared to Death and Radio Rental.
There's a new season coming out pretty soon.
Just
I know,
continue naming all the podcasts that
that
inspire
I
us.
love.
It's
Yes.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Time
Yard.
Time
The
Suck.
Yard.
You need to listen to The Yard. pretty fun.
National Parks After Dark. Dude, listen to that. That shit is so good. It's really good. But anyways, yes. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Yeah.
Please be sure to leave a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. It really helps us get into the algorithm of those apps and help us find new listeners. And remember, tell your family, tell your friends, tell the monsters under your bed to listen to Dead Reflections podcasts. Have a good night.
Does anybody actually ever watch these? Is there anyone out there? Fuck. I'm so lonely.
Penis.
Yeah, that's all I got.